with international growth. We look forward to this international collaboration where we're connecting life sciences companies, organizations, and ecosystem partners between the two regions so that we can help to accelerate collaboration, commercialization, and other aspects for growth. Before I leave the slide that is on the screen, oh, pardon me, I should probably exit out of there. Before I leave the slide that's on the screen, I just want to take a moment and highlight the partners that have helped to pull this together. As mentioned, I work for EDPNC, as we refer to it, the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. In the room, we have representatives from Catalonia Trade and Investment, the North Carolina Biotechnology Center. Online, we have BioCat, the Life Sciences Hub in the Catalonia region. We have First Flight Venture Center, SBTDC, as well as the U.S. Commercial Service. So as you can see, this is really a testament to the collaboration that both North Carolina and, from what I understand, the Catalonia region also has a very solid strength in. And so I just wanted to take a moment and thank all of our partners. A quick housekeeping note, we did hit the record button so that we will be able to utilize this as a foundation for future growth. This is the beginning of a relationship. So when we organize events in the future, we could always let newcomers to this bridging exercise have reference to it. And also, those of you that are online, just go ahead, keep yourself on mute unless it's an opportunity for you to speak. The agenda, I will end up putting the agenda into the chat so that our virtual participants will have access to that. Just a little recap of what to anticipate. First, we will hear from both respective life sciences ecosystems. So we have two representatives that will help us understand the strengths of our life sciences clusters. Then we will transition to a panel with two globally known companies that originate in either region. So we have Grifols today, as well as IQVIA. We're very honored to have you here. Thank you for being here. And our panelists will articulate their experiences and observations about perhaps where our synergies could lie and the strengths that they see in either of the regions. And then the third, but not the final portion of this program will feature pre-selected company spotlights, 3 from each region. Now, due to limited live time, we were not able to offer all organizations that wanted a spotlight time this morning. So we have decided to offer a digital opportunity to submit your profiles. We will put them together and send an email out later today with the details on how we will also offer potential partnering. So stay with us, learn, and then engage with us after the program as well. I am grateful to Marcus Gonzalez, right here with Catalonia Trade and Investment, who has devoted many hours to co-organizing this program. And again, you will hear from Marcus as well throughout that this is just the beginning. It's not a one-off connection. We plan to build bridges, and we want your input on how we can help do that. So for now, let's enjoy learning about one another's life sciences strengths. And I invite first Christian Brown, Director, Economic Development with the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, to kick things off. And if you all can just be patient with me for one moment as I transition the slides.
Perfect. We good? Excellent. Well, thank you again, everybody, for the opportunity to speak to everyone today. As Melissa said, my name is Chris Brown, the Service Director of Economic Development for the North Carolina Biotechnology Center. Would love to give just a brief high-level overview of the life sciences ecosystem we have here in North Carolina. We're very proud of it. It's a very dynamic system that we are kind of continuing to improve and continuing to work on. So if you go to the next slide, Melissa. So NC Biotech, want to give you just a brief overview of kind of our organization. We exist as a nonprofit. We were founded in 1984 as one of the first state-sponsored U.S. biotech initiatives, really supporting the life sciences industry in North Carolina. As the mission, as that statement says, a global life sciences leader. That is really our goal, is to get this name out, to get the state's name out to the world, saying that we are here open for business for all types of life sciences. Next slide. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There we go. We do this in a number of ways. So the funding that we get does come from our legislature. So every year we're part of the budget process. That funding then goes into a number of different buckets. We work on grant programs for our university researchers, sometimes finding spaces here at First Flight Venture Center. We work with emerging companies that have commercialized and started up. We've got loan programs that help drive that growth forward through that kind of valley debt that we always hear about, with the hope that eventually those companies are getting to my team, which is on that economic development and workforce development side. So my team works with companies anywhere from people looking at First Flight Venture Center, 5,000 square feet, all the way up to the multi-billion-dollar greenfield developments that have been in the news recently here in North Carolina. Next slide, please. So over those 42 years that we've been in business, this life sciences ecosystem has grown considerably. 860 companies right now. About 20% of those are in manufacturing, so production manufacturing. I do want to highlight, though, about 50% of those companies are in R&D space. So a very vibrant, innovative ecosystem that we have here statewide that is complemented by that manufacturing strength. That represents about 76,000 employees throughout the state. This is split up pretty much about half of it being in the manufacturing side. So obviously these large facilities that house 500, 1,000, 2,000 employees. That really drives that system as well. That's supported by a very large education system. So about 11,000 students are graduating annually from our universities. That is also complemented with our community college system, which is one of the most robust in the United States. And so that education and talent has been a real drive for companies that are looking to come to North Carolina and hire. Then I don't get paid to talk about North Carolina. Well, I get paid to talk about North Carolina, but those logos don't. So typically we say, we're doing it. We're doing as much as we can, but it's being recognized throughout the United States as North Carolina being one of the top states to do business. Oh, next. This is also not happening just in one little spot. While RTP is kind of that central focus, we are seeing growth statewide. And I also want to say this is a diversity of the life sciences ecosystem. So while life sciences manufacturing is one of our largest employers and one of the strengths in North Carolina, the R&D is really going throughout the state. And I also want to compliment our CROs. So North Carolina is the birthplace of the clinical research organization. Rachel's company started at UNC Chapel Hill as Quintiles and now IQVIA. And so that robust kind of system that we have to support the clinical trials that are going on for these pharmaceutical companies really provides a comprehensive service platform for the state. Next slide, please. Just wanted to showcase some of those life sciences growth announcements we've had. Grifols isn't on here, but in 2020, Grifols did have a rather large expansion, about $350 million down in the Clayton area. So it's off the charts a little bit, not too far, but wanted to make that connection. Obviously, a lot of different companies here, Genentech being another one that's part of the Roche company, Roche having a large presence in the Barcelona-Catalonia region as well. But the diversity of products that are going in. So Genentech, that is fill finish for GLP-1s. AbbVie is going to be small volume parenterals. We've got drug product, drug substance. So a lot of different diversity in that manufacturing side. So next slide. That's all supported by the scientific infrastructure that we have. So with North Carolina, not only are you getting kind of the talent and pipeline that's able for these companies to hire, those universities are also being awarded with a lot of different research funding. So in 2025, $1.7 billion in NIH funding that's going through most of the universities, UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, being the predominant players in that, but Wake Forest University also having a significant portion of that. 6 medical schools throughout the state, 4 pharmacy schools. We do have 5 R1, so tier 1 research universities in UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, NC State, and then just recently East Carolina University and UNC Charlotte. So those are kind of burgeoning universities that can help drive a lot of this innovation and a lot of the products that are coming out. A lot of other different things. I also want to highlight the comprehensive cancer centers with Duke, UNC, and Wake Forest University. So whenever my team is working with companies that are on that oncology side, that is one big highlight that we can bring to the table of there's some very large thought leadership that goes on in the state. Next slide. And so our future outlook, kind of looking forward, is right now we're at about $82 billion in economic impact for the life sciences industry. By 2030, we would like to reach about $100 billion. So that is focused on a number of different areas. On the innovation side, looking at those patent filings, looking at the amount of licenses that are developed. We're also looking at how much funding is being brought into the state. So last year, we actually set a record, and Kristen, you might correct me if I'm wrong, it was about $1.6 billion, I think, an announced venture capital investment into the state. This was at a time when the rest of the U.S. actually was quite down. So that is a really exciting trend line that we want to continue seeing as funding continues to come into the state. Not only does that help our local companies grow, but that also helps us get our name out there to attract other companies. So if it's companies from the Spanish region, Catalonia, if it's companies just in the domestic area, Boston, really expensive to do business in Boston, you can go a lot farther with that dollar here in North Carolina. So that kind of momentum is really carrying us forward. So thank you very much. I know that was a very brief overview. Happy to answer any questions throughout the day today, and I will turn it over back to Melissa.
Great, thank you so much, Christian. We have Sylvia with BioCat, and Sylvia, I did not want to incorrectly pronounce your full name, so if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself briefly, and then teaching us in North Carolina about your region.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Melissa. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, so I am Sylvia Lave. I am Director of Marketing, Communications, and Competitive Intelligence at BioCat. BioCat, as you can see here, was created in 2006, so this is why it's our 20th anniversary this year. And we have a very much like similar mission to yours, which is to drive health innovation in our ecosystem with a vision of positioning Catalonia as one of the main innovation hubs in Europe. So let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to also give you a brief overview of who we are and what makes Catalonia one of Europe's most compelling destinations for life sciences, and why North Carolina is such a natural partner for us. So, and I will start with the anchors of our ecosystem, which is Barcelona. Barcelona is consistently ranked among the top global cities for innovation and talent. It is the second most attractive city in Europe for startup founders, the 4th European ecosystem in numbers of scale-ups, and the first city in Europe for foreign investment attraction strategy, according to the Financial Times. But beyond the rankings, Barcelona is unbeatable in the combination of 3 key elements. First, the high qualified talent. Barcelona has a large and very high qualified pool of researchers and physicians, some of them top in the world in their specialty. Second, the network of excellent hospitals, infrastructures, and research centers that develop world-class science and provide the best medical care. And third, competitive cost and support of the administration for landing. So I would like also to add something harder to quantify, which is the quality of life that makes it very easy to attract and retain top talent. And this is the reason why we attract researchers, investors, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. So I will continue with the fundamentals. Here you have the list of Catalonia's more than 50 research centers in the life sciences and healthcare. As you can see, their specialties range from oncology, immunotherapy, nanotechnology, photonics, and regenerative medicine, among others. And also hospitals. You can see here some of our hospitals, hospital centers like Hospital Clinic, Valdebron, and the Pediatric Center Sant Joan de Déu, all of which are ranked among the world's best according to the last World's Best Hospitals rankings. So these hospitals combine clinical excellence with outstanding research output and advanced digitalization, positioning Catalonia ahead of most European health systems. And this is also the reason that the Catalan hospitals are running more than 5,000 clinical trials in 2025, meaning participating in more than 90% of Spanish national total, ranking as 4th in Europe and 7th worldwide. So the data I'm going to share now comes from the Catalonia Health and Life Sciences report, which is what we call the Bioregion report, or an annual publication that has become the official reference for the life sciences and healthcare sector in Catalonia. And I will explain you what is exactly the bioregion of Catalonia. And as you can see, it's a dense ecosystem of over 1,650 companies spanning biotech, pharma, medtech, and digital health, together with 94 research institutes, collaborating with a world-class healthcare system. So together they contribute 76% of Catalonia's GDP, making life sciences the third largest economy activity in the region. So Catalonia is Spain's #1 region for the life sciences exports, representing more than 45% of Spain's total. Our main export destination includes Switzerland, Germany, France, and notably the United States. We also have 151 subsidiaries of Catalan companies abroad, so we have good presence around the world. So here you are also the foreign direct investment of the last 5 years that, as you can see, focuses mostly on investment in R&D, which brings a lot of value, and that has generated over 5,000 jobs, new jobs, the last 5 years. And also it's worth mentioning the number of multinationals that have established their innovation hubs the last 5 years. That sums already 33 companies that have announced more than 80,000 new jobs. And this is due mainly to the one reason that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the highly skilled talent that comes from our universities. That, as you can see, this is on the right, this is the pipeline of nearly 26,000 new graduates every year, plus the 18 research professionals that work in the research centers. So this brings me to the end of the presentation, and I would like to finish highlighting one of the most strategic areas that we are working on, which is ATMPs, Advanced Therapies Medical Products. This is the network that we launched last year, ATMP Catalonia, that brings together 74 entities across research, hospitals, industry, and regulators, all working to make Catalonia's international benchmark in development, manufacturing, and adoption of advanced therapies. And all of them very open to collaborate to advance today the therapies of tomorrow. And last but not least, a final slide of our free bioregions data platform, which is a live database where you can explore it online to identify potential partners, collaborators, investors, whatever you need. So that's all. I don't know if it's 7 minutes, but anyway, if you need or want more information about our ecosystem, these are my my contact directly. So very welcome, and looking forward to the conversation today ahead.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. We will make sure to share both of those presentations with everyone that registered. So appreciate your time. We will transition the program now to Marcos Gonzalez with Catalonia Trade and Investment, who will lead our panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for helping us putting this together and leading actually this. Like Melissa said, my name is Marcos Gonzalez, and I lead the Catalonia Trade Investment office in Florida, based in Miami. Catalonia Trade Investment, we have a few delegations in the US, and our role is to help companies from Catalonia to arrive and develop their businesses in the US, and also American companies that want to look into Europe, and we offer them to look into Catalonia first and help them in that process. So with that, today we're gonna talk with two companies that are representing exactly what we're talking about. Catalonia company based in North Carolina and a North Carolina company based in Catalonia. So we're gonna go through a different questions so we can have like a real insight on what it is, to cross-border dynamics on large companies, biotech like large companies. So first of all, I want to introduce Vlasta Hicks from Grifols to my left, and also Rachel Horns from IQVIA based in the US. And also I think we have John Ward, who works for IQVIA in Barcelona. He should be online, I guess, and he can participate.
Hello there.
Hello. Okay. So first of all, I wanna start by introducing or having Vlasta introduce yourself, your role, and what Grifols has as priorities in North Carolina and also in the state.
Thank you, Marcos, and thank you everyone for having me here. It's a pleasure to talk about doing business in North Carolina and having that unique perspective of getting our start in Barcelona and then coming to the US. So it's actually I've been with the company, it's gonna be 20 years in December, and I like to say that I've grown with the company as the company's grown. So we came to the United States in about 2004, came into California and been in the US and sort of continued to grow with our investments in North Carolina, et cetera. So it's been kind of a fun journey for me to see and be a part of. I do all of our government affairs, public affairs, patient relations. We work with all of our patient organization, as well as all of our corporate philanthropy. So kind of doing all the fun stuff. So I'm working with organizations like BioCat and here in the US with our chambers to continue to expand our business and work with different partners. Grifols is a global healthcare company. Grifols is actually based in Barcelona, Spain, but our largest manufacturing site is here in North Carolina, based in Clayton. We also have our biopharma, our pharmaceutical sales and marketing based in the RTP office, about I think 3 miles down the road. And I'll be going there after this. And our main business is making medicines out of plasma. So we actually also operate about 300 plasma donor centers across the country where we collect plasma. That plasma comes here into North Carolina, into Clayton, where it gets manufactured into life-saving medicines. These medicines treat rare and chronic conditions, anywhere from people whose immune system doesn't properly work to being used in hospitals for trauma. So really critical medicines to the patients that depend on them. And we're able to meet our patients more directly through the work that we're doing here in North Carolina. So happy to answer more questions on that.
Thank you. And Rachel, thank you for being here also, representing IQVIA, and John on the other side of the Atlantic. And Rachel, if you want to introduce also IQVIA, yourself, your role, and John afterwards.
Sure. Thank you, Marcus. It's also a pleasure for us to be here. We, as Chris pointed out, are a homegrown business. We always love to tell the story that we started in a trailer at UNC with two people. I think some of those employees from the early days might still be with the company. Like Vlasta, I've actually been with IQVIA over 20 years. Which is funny, when I was looking at my history speech and it said we started 44 years ago, people said, oh, because it was 24 when we started. Okay, so time flies, but also I think your point about growing with the company, Quintiles had grown over the years exponentially, and then of course merged with IMS Health back in 2016. And together, we brought together one of the world's largest clinical research organizations with one of the largest healthcare data and technology company. And what that has created is an advanced analytics technology solution clinical research company that, together with that expertise, the data and the services and breadth, we're able to accelerate clinical development and commercialization for life sciences companies around the globe. We count around 90,000 employees doing business in close to 100 countries around the world. I think Chris's point about the clinical research ecosystem here in the CRO industry is so true. I mean, we have around 4,000 employees that call North Carolina home. And most of those in the clinical research enterprise in North Carolina that have lived here for a while have worked either at, IQVIA or Quintiles or what have you. So truly a North Carolina company. That said, we're here today to talk about Catalonia. It's one of course, many places where we work. But in my role as a kind of similar in terms of government and public affairs, lately really focused on engaging with regulators. And one of the big topics has been, keeping trials in one's country or bringing trials to it. So I've come to realize that the country of Spain, and now I'm better educated, that also the region of Catalonia is one of the most productive places that we do clinical research. But I don't want to steal the thunder there. Do want to go ahead and introduce my colleague, John, who is one of many based in the region and can talk about what he does there. John?
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you, even if it's only virtually. Just to explain, my accent is Irish, so I'm a happily displaced Paddy living in Spain, up in the northeast in Catalonia. I live just outside Barcelona. My job is to look after and nurture institutional relationships between IQVIA Spain and the best hospitals and hospital networks that we have here in Spain. Valdebrón, Hospital Clinic, the Quirónsalud private hospital group, etc. So I've got a very busy agenda maintaining those relationships and growing them strategically, which is the most important part. Although there's an awful lot of operational parts and elements to my job, the most important part really is the strategic elements and how we work with these sites to bring the medicines to the patients as early as possible through the clinical trials we do. I know that we're going to ask why Barcelona, why Catalonia? And when I was talking earlier with Melissa, I was explaining that Barcelona is a port city, and it's always been a city of merchants. So this commercial mentality is a part of the DNA here. You can see it in everyday business. People are always looking for new opportunities. So it makes real sense that it's a boiler house for innovation and for new companies to build their to make their mark here and beyond Spain. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions at the moment, but I will hand it over to the next speaker.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep with the next topic, which is market entry. So we have 2 points of view here. So I wanted to know from the Catalonia company Grifols' point of view, why or what specifically triggered the decision to locate a big piece of your international business in North Carolina? And then we'll go ahead and ask the same one to IQVIA.
So first, the need for us to invest further in the U.S. was driven by the rising need for patient access to our medicines. We needed to be able to produce medicines at a much larger scale to meet the growing demand of our industry. So Grifols actually acquired Talcris Biopharmaceuticals that was based in Clayton in about 2011. And that site itself has been in Clayton since 1974. So there's a long history. So I can't explain why in 1974, one of the companies decided to build there. But I can say that part of the reason that we were interested in Talcris was because of the Clayton site. There was potential for growth there. There was already manufacturing established, but there was opportunity to do more. There was land, there was infrastructure, there was workforce, there was strong talent, there was really strong public-private partnerships where we could really go in and be able to expand. And since we've came into North Carolina, we have done a large expansion, a lot of strategic expansions to be able to continue to grow. We've added several manufacturing lines, buildings, offices. I mean, when I look at the map that used to be in our office in 2015 versus the map of the site today, it's much larger. And this is, again, thanks to the ability to be able to really grow here, have the space, have the ability to get the regulatory working with them. I mean, we've had the governor out, we've had all of our local officials out. There's really a strong relationship, I think, even with the North Carolina government to be able to grow. There's a lot of support here that you don't always see in other areas.
Thank you, Blasa. Thank you, Beautiful. And then Rachel, if you want to talk about why IQVIA chose, and I think John mentioned a little bit about it, but if you want to expand on that.
Well, I think I'll just provide the kind of global context because obviously John has more local, and especially if you stayed there for 30 years, there must be something. As clinical research organizations, all clinical trials pretty much are global at some point, or even the early phase ones expand from multiple countries. So we build our capacity all around the world. I think with Spain, the story may be more like why it continues to be, and Spain, and especially the Barcelona and Catalonia region, why it continues to be a hotbed of growth for us to place trials there. I think, John, I don't want to put you too much on the spot here, but I think maybe if you could talk a little bit about why we started there. I mean, I can tell the story of where the ecosystem. Yeah, go ahead.
It's because there's a long-standing tradition of research and in innovation here. We're very lucky in Catalonia because it's an ecosystem where the whole system that's required to go from an idea to the market to a product that gets to the patient is compressed within the same ecosystem. You have top-tier hospitals, translational research institutes, lots of biotech startup, as we've seen from the earlier presentation. And the global pharma presence has just grown here as they've seen the results that come from Catalonia. There's been a massive shift, for instance, I know we're not talking just about clinical trials, but in the clinical trial arena, whereby there's a huge shift here in Spain to earlier phases, which is the discovery phase or the very early development of a drug phase. And this makes Spain incredibly attractive, and Catalonia especially, because the majority of the work is being done up in that region here in Catalonia. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons for being here. It is a hotbed of research and a place where results come quick and fast. The country, Spain as a country, is one of the first to always adopt new legislation. We were one of the first to adopt CITES, which is the international system for approval for clinical trials. And that's borne out by the number of trials that we have done compared to any other country. Because of our early entry, we're now considered a reference country, whereby we're the country that leads the submissions and approvals for different studies along the way. So it makes Spain attractive in many ways. And I would also just underline the fact that after COVID, there was a marked increase in sensibility in the public population towards clinical trials. They had seen the trial process in motion in front of them, and it would seem to have helped as well with the recruitment here. Spain is well known for very high recruitment and very successful recruitment rates and data, clean data. So I think that will be part of the answer anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I disrupt this a little bit, and I want to invite Brandon Vale from IPRA. IPRA is a very large company from Girona, which is north of Barcelona. And they just arrived in the US to develop their business. And we have IPRA's representative here. He flew from Colorado, but the company is actually open and incorporated in North Carolina. So it's interesting. And I want to get your point of view on this market entry decision, and why, if you can mention about the North Carolina ecosystem and what you're looking into.
Thank you, and thanks for allowing me to tag along on the panel a little bit here. I have to find this North Carolina office because, as far as I know, I'm the only U.S. employee, and I don't have a seat there, so I don't get to go Yeah, so HIPRA quick is a 50-year pharmaceutical company. We have a big presence in animal health worldwide. We have 40 subsidiaries and distributed in 100 countries. But we're just starting our journey in the US. And we've been on a long international expansion with animal health, more recently in the last 6 years, human health as well. So it's really interesting to hear the perspective of a more mature company now that's been through that journey before us, because our approach right now is strategic partnerships and alliances. And we're doing that through our animal health portfolio and our human health portfolio. We're also launched a CDMO, biologic CDMO business, so strategic partnerships that way. So the biotech ecosystem in North Carolina is hugely attractive to us because we're also an innovation company, and that's where I think we truly align. So we're a different type of a partner for not a strategic alliance, but potentially for CDMO offering as well. So our part is really kind of new part of the journey. We aren't yet at the stage of talking about an operational build out in the US, but we're certainly seeing the future potential for that. But we've started already with strong demand, and kind of back to your point. It comes from our innovative products to focus on R&D that are truly unique, and we have some strong value for animal health products for sure. And human health being more recent, we have a recombinant protein-based COVID vaccine that we find now is interestingly coming back in interest, just given some of the refocus around say non-protein vaccines versus protein-based vaccines. And we think there's some other possibilities across the animal health portfolio to truly bring that into a form of one health concept across human health too. So anyway, for us, the ecosystems and the alignment of innovation and interest in R&D, scientific talent, and local economic development, those make it very natural, alignments for partnerships.
Thank you, Brandon, for being here and your intervention. So we're going to switch to ecosystem synergies. Now we have two ecosystems, and we've been presented the strengths of both of them. But I want to know from the corporate, real life, everyday point of view, where do these ecosystems align in a better way? And what type of collaborations seem more actionable according to both of you, Rachel and Lassa?
And I might hit pause really quick. So we'll probably have time for responses from each of the panelists one more time. So if you have any last thoughts too, if you could kind of package it with your stats. Thank you.
Well, I would say, and I think John, touched on it. I think where the synergies with it, at least for Grifols, is this idea of the research and some of the innovation getting started in Catalonia, and then coming to North Carolina to expand, right? I think we had manufacturing sites in Barcelona. We were doing business, but we needed to grow. And where you come and grow is North Carolina, and we were able to come and grow. And I think we're a good example of that idea of research being started, being close to the patients, being able to really get some of that R&D off the ground in Catalonia, and then bring it to the US to then go to the next level. So I think that's a lot of where we see the synergies.
Thank you.
It's interesting because, for us being based here, right, we're not really starting here and exporting there. It's almost like the two ecosystems mirror each other, which is what is so important to be able to do a clinical trial. Because again, what I talked about is, every day we have teams analyzing data to figure out where to place clinical trials, hundreds of trials, all different research locations, and all the different regions and sites themselves really are competing based on the quality of the data they produced, based on whether they have the patients and the physicians, and how quickly they recruit. And I will turn to John in 1 second to give this, but I was struck by this when we looked at the top countries in Europe. Spain, and a big part of this is driven by Catalonia, is the top recruiting country in oncology and CNS, and among the top 3 of the bigs in Europe. And if you think about that's not volume of patients. That's the ecosystem pulling together to say research is important. And I will say everybody's looking at China and Australia as the place to start for various reasons and speed, but they might be missing the shining star that is Spain, because they've got it down to what really matters, which is finishing that trial and speeding that innovation. And you can then take either it's grown here or grown there, but you can take it globally. John?
Yeah, I would agree fully. They actually complement each other, North Carolina and Catalonia. There are so many CROs in North Carolina, but the biomanufacturing part is very strong as well. While Catalonia is the clinical research and translational medicine center for Spain, basically. So there's this perfect alignment between the two sides. I think it's going to move towards early phase trials and a lot of work around advanced therapies. That's where there's going to be an awful lot of collaboration going on between the two sides.
Do we have, yeah.
I just wanted to say, because I know that there are a lot of folks in here that aren't doing clinical trials necessarily, but maybe from North Carolina wondering whether to invest in the region, but where go the CROs and the clinical trials goes all the other services. So I mean, you could look at North Carolina that way as well. So I just a little plug for the region that whether it's supply chain or technology, I wouldn't ignore the region as a real hub and growth.
Right, thank you so much for being here. And just to let you know, we do have people in the room that travel from out of state to be here to participate. So thank you again. At this time, we will transition to the next segment of the program. I'd like to introduce Krista Covey, CEO and President of First Flight Venture Center, who will kind of tell you a little bit about First Flight as well as lead our company's Spotlight segment.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Well, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you all so much for being here. It's a delight to see you all at First Flight Venture Center. So First Flight is a 501c3 nonprofit innovation hub. We've been here for 35 years. And at this site, this is our incubator. We serve high tech or high science, deep tech, and ultimately high impact startup companies in many different industries, as well as we serve as a soft landing site for innovators, entrepreneurs, international friends that want to soft land in the United States and need that turnkey office and lab solution, as well as a community of support and know how to do business in the US. So we serve about 700 to 800 companies each year through our different programs, mentoring, acceleration, business education, commercialization, you name it. We don't have enough time to go through all of it. Happy to talk to you afterwards. So we serve a lot of companies each year. We've graduated a lot of companies. They have $26 billion in market capitalization in the state of North Carolina. We're really proud of that and looking to expand and serve even more. So today we've got wonderful opportunity to highlight 6 companies that are at different stages. So early stage as well as later stage companies. So I'm going to go in order here. And companies, if you wouldn't mind, just for the sake of time, keeping it pretty succinct and brief, we will have you introduce yourself, your company, the problem that you're solving, and what asks you have of the audience. This could be, hey, I need a distribution partner, or I just want partnerships in general. So if you have an ask for this audience, we've got some great folks in the room. And so Brandon, I know you've already spoken up, but love to have you start with our spotlight.
Yeah, so I'm the business development officer for Hipra Biotech Services, which was the CDMO arm, but they represent the whole company. I spoke a bit about what we're trying to do with our strategic alliance interests, but maybe I would highlight some things that we're known for in Europe. So we have we're leading the Europe preparedness for the 100 days mission. So in pandemic setting, how to bring a new drug to market and bring it in 100 days. This is driving huge investments for us in manufacturing capabilities and R&D. And we have a publicized project called Speed Cell that is really around revolutionizing the development cycle for the non-mRNA vaccines, quite honestly. So this is driving a lot of synergies in vaccine platforms, and where there's need for vaccines to be co-developed or licensed in the US, either from us or back and forth. There's, I think, huge potential for that. So it's not just distribution partners. We do have such a partner with Elanco, with one of our drugs already. But we would definitely be looking for some partnering and licensing. And on the CDMO side, anything we can do to get our capabilities and our technical teams in front of biotech companies in North Carolina, when I think they would be very pleasantly surprised what we can offer. Because in the US, I meet people all the time who don't know us, and they're consistently impressed by just the scale and level of investment they see. So we have almost 3,000 employees, most of that in the Catalonia region. And that rivals a lot of the scale, I think, of companies in shooting this race. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Hi, Tim Avara, CEO of Gerada. Let's start with the challenge. I would even say the problem we want to solve for. All biologics require a cold chain. And our technology, which is a platform technology, simply polymers and surfactants, can eliminate the need for a cold chain or substantially reduce the need for a cold chain for looking at cells. So that ultimately the goal is improving patient access. When you look at what's happening in the world today, $30 billion, and I always have to double check that number, of pharmaceutical products are discarded annually for cold chain issues, for temperature excursions from the cold chain. Our polymers work in a really simple way. Essentially, look at the active pharmaceutical ingredient and it creates a bubble wrap around the API. And that bubble wrap does not impact safety, does not impact immunogenicity, and can be added at the fill finish process step, does not impact upstream manufacturing. So I'll give you 3 quick examples. Viral vector vaccine, typically stored at -80. We have 3 years at 25C in a film. I'll mention film in a second. T cells, typically stored, if we think about CAR T therapy, in liquid nitrogen, we can store them at 2 to 8C. Monoclonal antibodies, typically stored at 2 to 8. We have data at 25C and data at 40C for that last mile. So what is our goal? Our goal is partnering with companies to extend our technology. You know, the pharmaceutical companies, the biotechs with the APIs are the experts. You know your APIs, you know your analytics. Our goal is to make our technology available to you to include in your development programs and even your commercial products because of the ease of integrating it in. So look forward to further discussions with everybody in the room. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. Okay, online we have our friend from Nimble, Oriel Egora.
Yeah, thank you all for being there. I'm sorry not joining you in person, and thank you for having me here. So Nimble Diagnostics is one of these earlier stage companies that you mentioned before. We're a medtech spin-off from Barcelona, and our focus is that medicine has advanced greatly in the last decades by implanting things into the human body, from prostheses to valves to sensors. Now everyone's putting sensors everywhere. And we didn't have any technology or tool to monitor these implants specifically. So ultrasound doesn't work, MRI doesn't work, CTA scans can work in some instances, but not in many others. So we are in a reactive field where we implant medical devices into the human body and work for the best, hope for the best. And until symptoms appear, you don't know there's a problem. It's usually too late to treat it or more complex to treat it, and it could be prevented. So what we've done is we've designed a first-in-class technology based on microwave interferometry. This is really new. And the idea is that we have a device that it looks similar to an ultrasound, but instead of having one transducer, we have 2 antennas. These 2 antennas go on top of the skin near the implant location. And when you click play, we send 200 pulses of microwaves. This is completely non-invasive. It doesn't heat anything up. It's not like the microwaves that you have at home. And it's completely non-ionizing. So it does nothing to the patient, but in less than 10 seconds, we can analyze the structural integrity of the implant. And our first indication that we're working towards is coronary stents. So stents are these small metallic mesh tubes used to reopen blocked vessels and are the first line treatment after a heart attack. Once inside the body, this can get blocked or damaged again and putting the patient lives at risk. And now the only way to know that the implanted stent is working properly is to have a very complex and invasive procedure, which is angiography. So the idea is that we're developing a tool that can do 2 things in this scenario. First, these patients after a heart attack already have clinical appointments made, but these are subjective. It's a conversation. If you feel fine, it's symptom driven. If you feel fine, we assume everything's fine, and then we send you home. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a problem in the next few weeks. So first, Let's make this objective in less than 10 seconds, completely non-invasive in the outpatient setting. Let's check that we don't have really a problem there and identify problems as early as possible. But then for patients that have symptoms, many of them are generic symptoms and can be related to a heart disease or not. And so we need a triage tool to understand if these really need go through a invasive procedure or not. And our technology can do that as well really easily. So we're now finished our first clinical trial in 56 patients. It's not a lot, but we recently finished it. And we are now preparing for a pivotal trial to start 2027, get FDA and CE mark in parallel, and get commercialization by late 2028 if everything goes well. The goal here is, of course, we're always, as a startup, raising capital. So we're raising now 12 million Series A, almost fully booked. It's 10 million already comprised, and we're just finishing the last 2 million. So if anyone is interested in that opportunity, let us know for sure. But of course, having contacts to understand market access on how we can get deployment once we have FDA approval, what are best strategies or hospitals that we can connect to, that's also really interesting for us. So of course, any questions that you may have, gladly answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Ernesto,
Good morning, buenas tardes to those in Catalonia. Even if I speak Catalan and I did my studies in University of Autónoma, I'm actually representing a local company to North Carolina, DMC Biotechnologies. The technology, so DMC stands for Dynamic Metabolic Control, is actually a technology that is come out from Mike's Lynch laboratory in Duke University. And thanks to this technology, we are not in pharma or in healthcare, we're an industrial biotech company. So we use this technology to engineer microbes to produce different ingredients and chemicals. A couple of the ingredients that we have developed recently, these are the two first ingredients that we are bringing to commercialization stage. They are actually used as nutraceuticals for healthcare. Minoxidil and inositol, these are sugar alcohols used for women's health, specifically polycystic ovarian syndrome and others, and also men's health, specifically on testosterone. My interest here is to network a little bit, to know the environment here and in Catalonia. And of course, if somebody has interest in us developing ingredients for you, but also on these ingredients that I mentioned, please reach out.
thank you so much. 1 second, Brad. So DMC Bio was a first flight graduate recently. Actually was our later stage Wheels Up Accelerator winner a couple years ago too. Yeah. More.
Yeah.
So now we'll hear from our friend online, Luca Caruso from Outpost Health.
Hi everyone, and thanks Marcos for the invitation. My name is Luca Caruso. Actually, I'm here because I've actually lived both worlds. So I've been living in Spain, in Barcelona, and Catalonia for 12 years, where I actually built 2 startups in the digital health space. And now I'm here since about 2 years in the US, near like close to Miami. And basically, we built Outpost Health exactly to help and to work with companies that are medtech and digital health and that are working on or are considering moving into the other side of the ocean. So it could be Spain or could be US. Exactly on the points of what Oriol has mentioned before. So whatever is the hiring or any topic that you need. So we created a group of experts, vetted experts on the FDA or go-to-market or the hiring side. We are a company that does that specifically, and also the investor side. So I'm actually myself partner of one VC that it's going to really be released next month. So I'm happy to say that. And so we help companies introduce into these specific experts to make sure that companies don't make the mistakes of building wrong relationships or hiring the wrong person or so on. So that's why we exist, and we work mainly with established companies. So they have raised at least 10 millions or their revenue is between 10 and 75 millions. And that's what we do. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much. And then finally, we have Randy Trice with Alphanumeric, who is also online. Oh, Randy, you are on mute.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, Krista, thank you for having us on your program today. We've been investing in growing in Barcelona since 2014, so we have some experience there. Alphanumeric partners with pharmaceutical, biotech, and life science organizations of all sizes. We try to build scalable solutions to work with them, and our tailoring of the kind of that right size is what I think makes it, from an operational side, a very good mix with customers large and small. We have a number of different services, and I'll just kind of go over a few of them. Enterprise and early stage enablement. So that would cover grants, investor and growth readiness, strategic decks, and also executive and board communications. Secondly, we have a big medcoms department. We try to develop very clear and concise and rigorous content for our customers. We've been doing that for a number of years, and would love to talk to anybody if they want to talk about that. Comprehensive regulatory services is our third area, where we provide practical and phase appropriate regulatory support spanning early development through the life cycle management for established products. Fourth, KOL, patient and omni-channel engagement. And so we support the strategic identification and ongoing engagement of key opinion leaders, global investigators, and patient communities. The fifth area for us is global pharmacovigilance. Trying to keep it short, we establish and optimize forfeit pharmacovigilance frameworks for early clinical trials companies all the way through the top 10 pharmaceutical companies around the world. I could go through all of the things that we do in pharmacovigilance, but it's rather exhausting, and Krista told me I only had 2 minutes. Number 6, global contact center communications. We do it all on a virtual basis. You might know that we did during COVID. We were extremely busy for several of the vaccine companies, and that was all done virtually with no brick and mortar throughout 4 different regions around the world. And then finally, facilitation of operational expansion services. So with all of the stuff coming, all of the manufacturing coming to North Carolina, what we've seen is we've been doing this space optimization project management for a number of years for some of our companies. That fits right in with the companies that are coming into North Carolina and need that type of project management. That's kind of a bit on alphanumeric. One last thing, we're in 11 countries doing business, and we love Barcelona.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Krista, and all the companies. So I will speak probably for others as well, that was a lot of information, a lot of great information, which is the perfect segue for the brief closing that I will make. So just to be respectful of time, wanted to note for those that need to jump that you can. However, if you can stay, I am going to explain the follow-on activities for this relationship. So if you can stay, please keep going here for 5 more minutes. We are opening a company spotlight opportunity that will be conducted via email. Please check your inboxes today or tomorrow at the latest for an email that will explain the procedure. Essentially, what to expect is that we are going to send you a template. All companies will submit the same template. It will be very similar to the spotlights that you just heard. And then you will have the option to offer your email address if you're not comfortable with that. That is what the facilitation part will be for. We are going to compile all of these digital one-page spotlights into a booklet, a digital booklet. You will be able to indicate through an interest form what companies or organizations, and this is open to all. If you're online and you're with a research organization, a university, an economic development organization, a service provider, a biotech pharma company, we're building bridges for all aspects of our ecosystem. So I invite everyone that participated to make a submission. And if there is a mutual connection, then we will do a quick email introduction and leave it to you to have that conversation. In the spirit of acting on momentum, we are only going to give you until the end of the day, May 28th. So we will give you a full week. It's only one page, and then allow us some time to put together the program. And we also will be sending a survey about what you would like to see next. Maybe in 6 months from now, we can put together a roundtable discussion on a specific subsector topic. Please give us your guidance on what you would like to see. We're already talking about, hey, maybe, we could shape some potential trade missions out of this. But meantime, we want to keep this dialogue going. We want to know what you want to know, and we can help bridge that. So thank you today to our speakers, to our partners, to all the collaborators. And I will note that in the chat, there is that agenda. I wanted to make a note that GLOBE, as we refer it to, is a Global Life Sciences International Business Group that is a collaboration here in North Carolina through the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, the Economic Development Partnership of Organization, my colleague in the room, Crystal, with the U.S. Commercial Service, my colleague online with the Small Business and Technology Development Center. We have a program next scheduled for June 9th, which will introduce you to a few free tools to help grow your life sciences business globally. So North Carolina companies, jump online, check that out. And those in person, please stay for some scheduled networking time with one another. Meantime, have a great week and a wonderful weekend. And until next time.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, everyone.